Well, folks, before we get underway with the preview for the Western Cape race meeting at Kenilworth on Tuesday, let's remind you of a big day because the Hollywoodbets Durban July final field and draw will be made on this Tuesday. You can catch all the action on SuperSport Blitz. And that, I believe, starts at 11 o'clock. Graham Hawkins and his team will cover that for us. And on the subject of the Hollywoodbets Durban July, we have a Clocking the Gallop extra special because it is, of course, the Durban July. Now, for more information, go to www.clockingthegallop.com. There's, of course, a pot of honey awaiting you all, especially with the theme this year for the Hollywoodbets Durban July. So the tips package for 250 Rand, our expert team of tipsters, who, of course, have a tremendous role of honor. If you just have to go back to our Clocking the Gallop views that have now been over 1.4 million, you will know that we are well positioned to have a good crack at Hollywoodbets Durban July Day. So you will receive the well sought after Clocking the Gallop selection sheets for Fairview Racing on Friday, the 1st of July, Hollywoodbets Durban July meeting for Greyville on Saturday, the 2nd of July, then the Turffontein race meeting on Sunday, the 3rd of July, and finally, there's a Kenilworth race meeting that swapped out actually with Greyville for Monday, the 4th of July. So plenty of racing over that weekend. Pools are massive, and you can participate in the Clocking the Gallop extra for a fee of just 250 Rand. Deposit that fee into the Clocking the Gallop bank account. There are the details on screen for you, and away you go. You'll receive our information on the morning of each of the 4 race meetings, and as you know, the team communicate and share ideas and then give it a full go. Personally, I can't wait. It's going to be absolutely huge the weekend. Hollywoodbets Durban July being the feature thereof. So for further details and more importantly, to get on board, because there will be a limited amount. We're not going to send it to the whole world and his wife. So we have a cutoff. Make sure that you secure your 250 Rand Clocking the Gallop extra by giving us a contact detail and making that deposit in the banking details that are on screen. So, pot of honey awaiting you all, Clocking the Gallop, and there's going to be a huge buzz since we've launched 2 years ago on Clocking the Gallop. Welcome, everybody. This is our preview for the Kenilworth race meeting on the winter course on Tuesday, the 21st of June. And I'm getting it to market quite early. I always tell people that because the more the reason to suggest that you look at the scratchings early on tomorrow and the jockey changes. At the moment, there are a couple that have come through, so I'm broadcasting with that knowledge. But let's get straight into that and share the screen, which will have the confirmation of the changes as I am recording this. So there you can see Kenilworth on Tuesday, the 21st of June. Couple of scratchings in race 2, numbers 8 and 9. Race 4, number 10, Guy Alexander is out. Race 5, number 8, Flyover is not eating up. And in the 6th race, insufficient recovery time for horses that ran over the weekend, over the weekend, I think it was, Parisian Girl and Magical Java. The latter, of course, actually won on whenever it was. Saturday, maybe Friday, Thursday, I don't know, but it won. So much racing, it never stops every day. Those two have been taken out of race 6. On the equipment change, race 3, number 7, Princess Louisa, has blinkers off. And what have we got here? A weighted Java. Well, that doesn't make any difference, Magical Java now, because it is scratched anyway. So those are the changes at the time of me broadcasting. I'm going to get on to the fixed odds and take you through my race-by-race suggestions. Well, if you follow this channel, the Clocking the Gallop channel, and my previews of Cape Town racing, you'll know that I don't get overly involved in these early 2-year-old races and the bipot because they can be tricky affairs. My advice, which would be the same tomorrow, is have a look at the betting market overnight and in the morning, see if there's a follow through, for example, on the likes of number 8 Tuscany. And if there is, you take cognizance of that. And then if you can, particularly for the opening legs of the bipod and the PA, have a look at them on the way down to the start so you can make your own judgment calls there. What I will say is that number 4 Golden Hostess, who is the favorite at 12 to 10, certainly on a pedigree, I think might need a bit of ground. I'm not saying she can't win over the 6 furlongs, but I'm sure she'll be a better filly when she goes ground. She's a daughter of Gold Standard out of that French deputy mare Costa, who has already thrown some stamina horses. So Golden Hostess has got some fair form, but might be vulnerable to a horse who's bred to sprint and be effective over this trip. Number 6, Rennie is a daughter, give me the green light, out of very good family, that Pater Familiaris family. And Arun Chadra has got a couple of runners on the card. I like her chances. She's a 28-10. Louis Cotter rides. But as I say, there is some interesting early support for number 8, Tuscany, who's another daughter of Give Me the Green Light out of a Bel Esprit mare. And she ran okay on debut, but there might be improvement to come, although she is drawn 9. Not much else really to report there. No market moves. Number 1, Champagne, I thought was quite interesting. She's a daughter of Silvano out of a Corari mare, and Dr. Jacobs has kept her. He bred her, and he hasn't sold her. And I think that she'll be okay, but whether she'll be able to be competitive being a Silvano on debut remains to be seen. So have a look at the betting, but for me, I suppose the value might be in the 6 or the 8 in that opening race. But other than that, I'm not getting overly involved. Likewise, I think the second race, which is the first leg of the place accumulator, and I'm going to look and remind myself whether I have any strong opinions in this race. The answer to that was, well, I've only got an improver that I thought would run well. We'll get to that in a moment. But the betting, the betting suggests the money for the Brett Crawford son of Dynasty out of that Jallard mare, My Guiding Star, Varsfontein bred, Louis Cotter rides, drawn 9, which is one from the outside. But there's been a ton of support into 3-1 now from an opening price of 6-1. So you have to take cognizance of that. Number 2, Colloidal Gold, is 25s into 20s. Number 3, Dance Variety, has also been supported from 7-1 through 6-1 into 9-2. And that's a son of Var out of a Trippy mare. Craig Zaki rides and is drawn well at 4. Number 4, Fort Apache, is 22-10. Aldo rode him on debut, keeps the ride, and has to have a chance. I guess that Port Louis form, there's been a winner already from that form. The jockey booking on number 5, Heart Stealer, was interesting because Richard Ferry has gone for that. I suppose he could have gone for a couple of others. But Eric Sands has booked Richard Furry for that Time Thief. And Hard Stealer has actually also shortened in the market. Well, there seems to be money for, excuse me, everything here. Number 6, Heathcliff, was gelded before making a debut and has done okay. He's run 6th and then 2nd. Drawn 2. He's a Camphor Cliff, so he's not without a shout. My value horse in the race is number 7, Holy Orders. I thought at 25-1, he was probably overpriced. He's owned by some good friends of ours, Greg Bortz and Andrew Brand, and of course, Etienne Braun and Gina Goldsmith. He's a son of Dynasty out of that Holy Roman Emperor mare, Saint Mary, but he's been gelded since his debut, and he's drawn 1. His first run really wasn't that inspiring, but I think that he's likely to strip a much fitter horse with the gelding, and in a very open race, I thought 25-1 was a big price. 8 and 9 scratched, so you don't have to worry about them. And then the 10 horse is a son of Visionaire who's been gelded already and is 33-1 in the betting market, although he's coming to 25-1. So that first leg of the PA has could have an open look about it. I mean, you can see how many horses have been backed, so I would tread warily, and it's the reason why when it comes to the take a bet with Tab online, I'm not going for a buy plot or a place accumulator today. I'm going to rather stick to some of the jackpot races where there is exposed form. Speaking of exposed form, let's get on to a maiden. And now the card for me certainly starts to get interesting. And number 1, Autumn Moon, was heavily backed last time. He was backed from 12 to 1 into 11 to 2, and he was a bit unlucky. He got kind of lost in the race and was doing some low flying. Richard Faree now takes over. You could certainly suggest, and no disrespect to the former riders, but Richard Faree certainly is a jockey strike, and he hasn't ridden the horse before, so that's a positive. But he does have an 11 draw to overcome from this 1400-meter start. So again, he's probably going to be out with the washing and hoping to come with a late rattle. But the way he was finishing last time, you've got to respect him. Two Admirals Ransom is a stable companion. Vaughan Marshall's got 3 runners here, 1, 2, and 3. I actually thought Admirals Ransom was somewhat overpriced at 20 to 1. Couple of reasons. He shows some good pace. He's drawn 1, which will suit him because he likes to go up handy. And twice out of the last 4 times he's been poorly drawn, which hasn't helped him. He's also, by the way, a half-brother to Captain's Ransom. Okay, fair enough, he's no Captain's Ransom, but yeah, I thought he was a bit overpriced at 20 to 1. Number 3, Forever Bills had chances. It's been the subject of a horse, or a subject of support and tips from some people in the market before, and they've done their proverbials. So we'll leave that to those people. Let's move on to number 4, Masterful Guy. That's gone from 8 to 1 out to 10 to 1. Aldo de Meyer rides. Interesting because Richard Faree's been booked on him before, but you would assume that Richard has shifted allegiance to number 1, Autumn Moon, and I think that would be probably the best way to read it. 5, Whiskey Mac is on debut. No money at this stage for him, but he's a beautifully bred individual, but he is bred for 2,000 plus. He's the son of Silvano out of the Galileo mare. And look at the owners, John Magnier, the Nagels and the Shanahans, and he really is a beautiful pedigree, but perhaps not on debut. Number 6, The Heat is on. A horse I liked at his penultimate start. I was shocked at how poorly he ran. He finished 6th, beaten 3.3 lengths behind Quickstep, but he quickly set that record right and ran a much better race next time when he was at 25 to 1. So it was probably a race too early with him. Or her, I should say, and she's the daughter of What a Winter. Keenan Stain has been riding quite nicely, and Paddy Creer, who's a tremendous horseman, that has to be respected. 7, Princess Louisa, we saw there was equipment change on that. 9, 10 to 1 in the betting market, fair form, but moderate form. 8, Quasimodo. I'm not going to say my Hunchback of Notre Dame jokes, so don't worry. What have I got here? Oh, gelded, but not any significant immediate improvement. So not without a chance, but not for me. Port Louis, Port Royal Louis, or Royal Port Louis, Louis and Cotwa. Well, this ran behind a Port Louis. That's why it's confusing. This is Royal Port Louis, and he ran behind Port Louis. And of course, in this race, we've got Princess Louisia, or Louis, if you take off the A. So nicely drawn at 3, and I do expect improvement from this horse. He's been back from 12 to 1 into 6 to 1, and I think you have to take cognizance of that. So if you're taking pick 6s, don't leave out number 9, Royal Port Louis. Number 10, Spice Captain, is a massive price, probably going to even drift further tomorrow. And 11, Stratospheric, has had 3 runs, 4th, 2nd. Keegan de Merlo rides. These last horses, Quasimodo, Royal Port Louis, Spice Captain, and Stratospheric, are all 2-year-olds, but we've seen a snake 2-year-old win in open company last week, and in a moment I can tell you what it was. Was it called Lightspeed? I think it was. That horse Lightspeed run like an absolute good thing, actually finished with lightning speed. So Lightspeed has won for the Snaiths in open company, and they might very well follow up here with Suzette Fulyun's Stratospheric. And Suzette Fulyun had a winner yesterday, folks. And the reason I say that is because she is part of our Ben Mag Blue Syndicate. And we had our filly win yesterday, Ready to Fly. And she's one of the owners. I should actually congratulate all the owners yesterday. We were delighted with our filly Ready to Fly winning. She's the second of the first bunch of horses that we've syndicated. We've, of course, got 2 more in the pipeline, and we're looking for more success. But so far, so good with our syndicate. And well done to Suzette Barcy and everybody involved in the victory of Ready to Fly yesterday. Thanks to all concerned. Anyway, slightly off the point, but Stratospheric could win. For me, then, summing up, obviously number 11, Stratospheric, sets a standard. I think 6, The Heat Is On, will run well again. But number 1, Autumn Moon, I think you must respect. It's a jockey strike. Richard Ferree is riding so well, gets on it, and must be included. My roughie in the race is number 2, Admiral's Ransom, but the money horse is clearly number 9, Royal Port Louis, and you have to respect from a 3 draw, ridden by Royal Port Louis Mkotwa himself. Okay, let's move on to race 4 from that trappy little maiden, and have a look at the betting market here. Well, there's been a lot of money for number 1, Norshon, who has been my price booster before and has let the side down. When we made him the price booster, it was at his penultimate start. He was doing some low flying. He was a bit unfortunate not to get third on that occasion. Last time out, he ran really poorly. I'm not so sure he saw much of the inside running rail. I think he might have picked up some groceries from Kenilworth Centre, if I remember correctly. He came rather wide into the straight. This is where Light Speed, the 2-year-old, burst through and won well. But frankly, without mentioning names, there was some riding in that race, and on a number of horses, not just that one that I'm talking about, but some others that left a bit to be desired. I had to actually check if it wasn't an Apprentice Academy race. Not so obviously the winner, who I think was ridden by Grant Van Niekerk, the 2-year-old, came through. Anyway, Norson was poorly drawn and really did run well below expectations. Could bounce back here, but I've had enough of that son of Dynasty, so it can win without me. He's been expensive to follow. Number 2, Robert Burns, is a horse that sets the standard, but he's drawn 8, and he's a twice over out of a trippy mare. I think he's got some fair form. He wasn't well drawn last time. I just don't think he's value. He could easily win, but 16-10 doesn't exactly appeal to me. I'd rather look for some value in the likes of number 3, Global Movement, who was back last time. Aldo rode him, and Aldo sticks with him. He has had the nasty habit of being slow away in his last start, his penultimate start, so hopefully he'll get over that. But I think there is some potential here in number 3, Global Movement, and the fact that Aldo has stuck with him could be significant. Let's move on. Number 4, Electric Warrior, has drifted from 7-1 to 8-1. I see our friend, who's another one who deserves congratulations, because he's part of our Ben Mag syndicate. That's Dr. Jamie Lee Sim, who is taken over this horse. So you'll see it won't be in the Drakenstein stud colours tomorrow. It'll be in Dr. Jamie's colours. Keegan DeMello rides from a 1 draw. Could improve. He's a give me the green light. But number 7, Gem Rock, might be the stable elect, because Richard Ferree rides him, and they've taken the blinkers off. That's number 7, Gem Rock, who's having his 20th dip at trying to win a maiden. But to be fair to him, I think he's been campaigning in those special weights maidens, and sometimes he's had to ship a bit of weight to other horses, so this would suit him a bit better. Going back to the other horses, number 5, Run Rudolph Run, is a twice over, and he could improve. He's been steadily getting better. He could run into a placing. The 2 Vaughan Marshall runners, number 6, Keep Shining, and number 8, Twice the Master, have some form, but they were in those special weight maidens where they were handicapped to do well, because they are maiden handicaps or special weighted races. So 6 and 8 have got to improve, even though on face value they've run places. 9, Global Forest, another horse that I've been for, but he's held by a few here, and he's not particularly well drawn. 10, Guy Alexander, is scratched. And then we go to number 11, Douglas. Douglas. Now, Keegan's probably going to also roll his eyebrows, as perhaps Smunger did, but I didn't think he got a great ride last time, to be honest with you. And I quite liked him, Douglas. We made him our price booster, so if anybody's accusing me of speaking from my pocket, they've probably got a valid case, because I really did think Douglas would run well, but he went very handy, as did a few horses, and they really set up the race for the 2-year-old Light Speed. Douglas fell in an absolute hole. but you know, he wasn't conservatively ridden at all, considering he was drawn 12 out of 13. But anyway, we're all human. I didn't think that was my opinion of the race anyway. It didn't pan out for the likes of Douglas and Norsham. Maybe this race will. The blinkers were on last time, and who knows, maybe that's what Keegan gave some feedback. In fact, I would probably put 2 and 2 together and get 7 and say that's exactly what happened. He got off and said this horse was too keen with the blinkers, get rid of them. And the blinkers are off. He's drawn 2. Greg Sheen, I'm sure, will give him a patient ride. I don't know if Greg watches this channel. I think he does sometimes. I hope you give him a nice Greg Sheen patient ride, number 11, Douglas. And I think he's overpriced at 16 to 1 because he's another one that's been campaigning in those special weight maiden races where he's been giving weight to some other horses. The 12 horse, well, if that wins, I'll be going out. Okay, so summing up then, Robert Burns sets a standard, but I don't think any value. Respect the money for number 1, Norton. Got to run better than his recent form, surely. 3 Global Movement, I think, is a bit of value. And the other horse I mentioned as value, number 11, Douglas, in that race. I think he might be a bit overpriced. And even a horse like Gemrock, who's admittedly having his 20th start, but Richard Ferree gets back on him. How's Richard done on him? Yeah, even Richard hasn't been able to help him. But the blinkers are off, so both Douglas and Gemrock have the blinkers removed, and maybe they'll be more patiently ridden tomorrow. Okay, right, we spent an awful long time on that, mate. Let's move on. The fields get a bit shorter now and smaller, but no less competitive. This race was an interesting race. I spent quite a bit of time on this middle stakes race, having a look at the weights and where I think the winner is likely to come from. It is competitive. Number 8, by the way, Flyover, is scratched. You could probably make a case out for most of the horses here, but in the end, I thought that the key could be those that are weighted 56 and the 2 weighted 54, these being number 4, Pomodoro's Jet, who's always had a good reputation. Kaya Stables, of course, owned, so Keegan de Mela will ride, and he's been pretty impressive under Keegan, this horse. His 2 victories, and when he didn't win, he was just touched off by Thunder Master. So I think you've got to respect him. He sets the standard. He's probably my first choice in the race, and he's certainly the bookmaker's favorite at 28 to 10. But he has to give 2 kilograms to Steinbeck and Secret Oasis. And if you have a look at the run on the 13th of April, where Pomodoro's Jet beat Steinbeck by 0.85, there's a 0.5 kilogram in that, which would suggest that Steinbeck would therefore only be 0.35 lengths behind Pomodoro's Jet here. But Steinbeck subsequently won, and there was a lot to like about that. He's suddenly learned how to race this horse. I think the pennies dropped. He's a Silvano out of a Dynasty mare, and you've got to respect him. So he's definitely in with a shout. And then Secret Oasis, I was talking about Dr. Sim earlier on. He's a kilogram better off for finishing right on top of Steinbeck last time. And in fact, if you take it literally, he should actually finish in front of Steinbeck. And he gets the services of Smangal Kamalo, does the son of Rafif. So he's not that far out of the equation. It's a very competitive race. If I was taking a PA, I would go 4, 5, and 6. That's not to say that the 1, the 2, and the 3 can't win, but my allegiances will lie in order of preference. I think I will go 4, 5, and 6. That's the order in which I'll go for them. Let's hope we get a decent pace in that race because it's quite a small field. Right, moving on to race 6, the 76 handicap fillies and mares. Okay, this race I thought was very competitive. I'm just quickly go through all the runners. Well, Perfect Trust has got excellent form. Richard Ferree rides, not particularly well drawn, and she is a 4-year-old, but she does have to shoulder the 60 kilograms. I wouldn't be rushing out to get 28 to 10, to be honest. She can probably win, but I don't know if there's if that would be the value play. Number 2, Treasure Hunt, likewise, has been very consistent, but she's now up to a 75, and there are other horses who have got a beaten here. One of which is number 5, Crackling Rose, who I think is quite well in. We'll get to her in a moment. 3, Polar World is a daughter of William Longsword out of the Jetmaster mare. and not the worst outsider in this race. She's drawn 3. She's got the services of Craig Zaki. She could improve to be competitive. 4, Rewrite the Stars. There's a missing form line. She ran pretty well. We liked her, and I think she finished 2nd or 3rd at her last start. Smunger keeps the ride. She likes to go handy, and I think she'll run her race as well. Whether she's valued 5-2 or not, I'm not so sure. Crackling Rose is the same price at 5-2, so I do like her. She was drawn 11 out of 11 last time, and she should have the beating of Treasure Hunt. Keegan de Mela rides. I like the booking. Keegan hasn't ridden her before, but I think that she'll run well for him, and she has to be respected. 6, Jet for Time. Well, interesting, because she's got a horrible form, but to be fair to her, she has run in the Cape Fillies, Guineas, and the Paddock Stakes. I was looking for improvement at last start, but it wasn't forthcoming. Weekend ride out of it was the comment. Not too sure what went wrong there, because she's much better than that, surely. Maybe you choose to ignore that. But she's run behind Marina, Shanzadeh, and Captain's Ransom, so she is not meeting any of those here. Jet for Time. I wouldn't leave her out of the trifecta and quartets. Moving on to 7 is Scratch, Parisian Girl. Don't have to worry about that. Here's a filly that interests me, number 8, Margin Call. I think that she's been campaigning over distances a trifle too far for her. She's a Master of My Fate out of a Captain Owl mare, but those last 3 runs, a mile, 1800, haven't really suited her. I think this 1400 will, and I noticed that Greg Sheen's on this one again. So if you're still watching, Greg, I think this is a nice ride for you as well, actually. She was certainly overpriced at 16-1. Anyway, she wasn't, I don't believe, distance suited at her last couple of starts, and she was poorly drawn on top of it. Tomorrow she gets Greg Sheen, and she gets a draw of 1. And I don't think she should be left out of the trifectas and quartets either. 9 is Scratched. 10, Rosie Roan has lost a bit of form, but she's got no weight of 54 kilograms. Also suggested here maybe the last run for her was too far as well. But on some form, behind Crackling Rosie, and in fact on the Dosey Go form, I think she's actually got Perfect Trust beat at the weights. So not impossible. If you're going to go wide, you might as well put her in. And likewise, number 11, Veronique, who I would like a lot more if she wasn't drawn 11. She's got the worst of the draw, unfortunately. So I might have to be patient and wait for her to pop up on another day when she cracks a draw. But what I'm suggesting about this race is that I don't believe there's value in the likes of Perfect Trust. And although I do like Rewrite the Stars and Crackling Rose, again, there's no great value there. I don't think I'll be making any of those the price boosters. But there is value perhaps with other horses, the likes of number 8, Margin Call in particular. So that's my take on that race. Let's speed it up because there are pressing engagements to happen on this Tuesday. Right, let's move on to the 7th race then. This is the race where I wrote field here, so I'm not going to take too long. I didn't like this race. I mean, Mar Black and Twilight Hour are nice fillies. But really, you know, this is a 80 handicap, and she's my captain at the bottom, has got as good a chance as anything. I mean, she's got only 55 kilograms to carry. She won her maiden last time. It was a maiden special weights as well. She stayed off a 72, so she didn't get penalized. And she's getting, what is she getting? 6 kilograms from Twilight Hour. That's quite a bit of pudding. Okay, Twilight Hour is a Vercingetorix and has run behind a Walk of Fame, but I'm not going to spend much more time on this. I don't think that you can take a chance here if you're going in the exotics. I think you need to put as many in as you can. Can't leave Mar Black out. She's a five-time winner. Goes very well for Aldo. Aldo's ridden her on all of her 5 victories, and it would not surprise me if he made it 6 yesterday. She gets half a kilogram from a younger filly, Twilight Hour, and she might just be too good for the rest of them. But I thought it was a trappy fillies and mares race, so I would suggest a wide approach there to be on the safe side. Let's move on to the last race then. This is a classified stakes race, so theoretically, the mare, number 7, Chilly Winter, should come in quite well. Devon Ashby, Keenan Stain, and Pierre Cornet also have been riding this mare, and they've all done very well on her. So for me to say Smunga Kumalo is a jockey strike might be a bit unfair, but certainly many will consider that. Smunga will be on his bicycle early from a 2 draw, I think, and try and get away from the field because this Chilly Winter is quite quick. And she, for me, would be the horse to beat in the race because she is receiving 3.5 kilograms from Tchaikovsky. I just want to quickly check if she is well in here. My glasses are off. Classified stakes race, best weighted. Yeah, number 7, Chilly Winter is best rated. So that doesn't surprise me. What price is she, Chilly Winter? Yeah, she's 72. It's not the worst price. But beyond her, Tchaikovsky has won really well in his last 2. He's drawn 1. He's got Aldo back on board. And he won last time, beating Weird Jamming. And I think that horse came out and won. If my memory serves me correctly, that's the nursery winner that Greg Boards has now bought. And that won very impressively last time out. So you could suggest that the form has been frank there. And Tchaikovsky is upwardly mobile, but he does have 60 kilograms to shoulder. The other roughies in the race, 2 Silver Salmon, has been poorly drawn at his last 2 starts, or his penultimate start. He was drawn 9 out of 9. Drawn 3 here, so he's got to have a chance. He's at 12 to 1. And my roughie in the race would be number 10, Wordsworth, who I was shocked to see at 8 to 1, to be honest. I thought we might get a little bit of 14 to 1 or 16 to 1, but that wasn't the case. So maybe the bookmakers are sharp that they've kept number 10, Wordsworth, only at 8 to 1, because he's quite well in here, and he holds the likes of Baltimore Jack on a couple of runs and is not without an upset possibility. So to sum up there, I think it's quite an open race, but my first 4 selections would be 7, Chilly Winter, respect for number 3, Tchaikovsky, number 10, Wordsworth, and number 2, Silver Salmon, but it is a open race. Okay, hopefully that sums up my opinions for tomorrow. As always, we'll do our shopping around for a price booster tomorrow, see if we can get some value for you. And there's also going to be a take a bet suggestion for tomorrow. As I mentioned, it won't be a bipod and it won't be a place accumulator. So it'll either be the first jackpot or the second jackpot. And I'm just going to work on the structure of it. As always with those exotics, it's about how you structure them. And after that, you've got to get a little lucky. So that's the Tuesday preview for Kenilworth. Break a leg, everybody. It is going to be a big Tuesday. One of the reasons I'm doing this early is because, of course, the Vodacom Durban July. The Hollywoodbets Durban July. My apologies to Hollywoodbets. We're stuck on saying the old sponsor, but Hollywoodbets Durban July is going to be finalised tomorrow. The final field, the draw will be done, I believe, at 11 o'clock. It's going to be on Supersport Blitz. And you can catch that. And so all eyes will be on that draw, which I think Graham Hawkins and team are going to do for the Hollywoodbets Durban July tomorrow. So good luck, everybody, and good punting.